All right, Beyond the Supernatural. Okay, this is the first one we did that was based in the now, without any super high tech superhero nonsense. It's now, that is now, except in the shadows, in the back alleys, underground, chanting, whatever. The mystical is real. Low powered magic. All right. Unlike Palladium, where it's all high fantasy, high magic count, stuff like that. In this world, magic is strong, sure, but it's not prevalent. It's not everywhere. It's in the hidden places, the dark places. And this is the first Palladium game that presented itself as a semi-horror genre. Doesn't have to be. It's not like Call of Cthulhu or other games like that. You don't have to play it as a horror game, but you can.
Did you say more X-Files?
I would say it's more X-Files.
Or Outer Limits or something?
X-Files. I would say X-Files. Okay. X-Files could be scary or it could be procedural, depending on the episode. Beyond the Supernatural, depending on the adventure, it could be that too. It has utility. And it is the first Palladium game where I believe, except for Palladium Fantasy in some instances, that horror factor is actually appropriate, that insanities are actually appropriate to be given out like Tic Tacs. Because some of this stuff is going to make you go crazy. And you're going to be scared. If this thing right here, is in an alley, comes out of an alley and bears down on you, you're going to shit yourself. That's completely appropriate. You're going to fail a horror check. I get it. If it eats your kid or your friend or whatever, you're going to get a phobia. You're going to get a delusion, an insanity. Yeah, makes perfect sense. But in Palladium Fantasy, it's a high magic world. This stuff is not unknown. People know about dragons. People know about demons. People know about elementals. People know about crap that looks scary and is scary. And it's not a shock to them. So insanities don't make sense. Initial horror factor problems make sense. In Heroes Unlimited, where you are greater than 99.99 ad infinitum people in the world by virtue of you having superpowers. If a demon comes on you, horror factor, maybe. Insanity, no. It would take a lot more than that. But in Beyond the Supernatural, most of the time, it's mundane. It is a mundane deal. You're a cop. You're a private investigator. If you are a magic user of some kind, you start at first level. You're a garbage magic user. You're a hedge wizard, basically. If you were face to face with an actual demon like this thing, you're gonna crap yourself just like a school kid would. So I like it, the fact that insanities now make sense to me. Palladium had them for a while, but they didn't actually make sense to me until Beyond the Supernatural. And of course, just like in Heroes Unlimited, it's based in the now, in our world, or a mirror of our world. And so the game master doesn't have to use time to world build. You can just use maps. Just, this is the map of Chicago. Here we are. You could do that. It's fine. And because most of this game is based in the now and based in normal society, you now have things that you have to do that you didn't have to do before. In Heroes Unlimited, you don't have to worry so much about your mundane life, your mundane job. In Palladium Fantasy, nothing about you was mundane. You're in a high fantasy world, so you didn't have to worry about a secret identity or doing things on the slot.
Adventuring is your job.
Adventuring is your job, right? That's how you make money. But in Beyond the Supernatural, there's no money to be made in fighting the evil forces that go bump in the night. You have to have a job. You have to have a cover life. You have to have all this stuff. And if you tell people that what you do, they're going to call the cops on you. They're going to call CPS. They're going to take your kids. They're going to call, shrinks to come around. They're going to descend upon you like vultures. It's going to happen. So you got to keep that life separate. You got to keep it secret. It's not like a secret identity, because it's still you doing this stuff. You're not a superhero. You don't have a secret identity like that where you put on a mask and stuff, because Unlike in Heroes Unlimited, if you're running around with a mask, people can call the cops on you, and you're going to get arrested and you're going to get found out. So I like that it has that extra layer of realism on top of my game. It's not oppressive realism, but it's the more making sense realism. You know, it makes sense with the game genre. Now, what I don't like about it, personally, I like, high magic environments, high power environments. I don't like characters to start off that way. I like them to be able to get there. Starting off as Superman sucks. Becoming Superman at the end of all your level progression, I'm okay with that. Beyond the supernatural, it's very much like Call of Cthulhu, except it's worse in the fact that you can't win. But in Call of Cthulhu, you get to die before your character comes to the realization that you're really never going to win.
Or if not die, you're never going to have that realization anyway because you're fucking nutters.
Exactly. Or you just go crazy and it doesn't matter anymore. But in Beyond the Supernatural, you live long enough to realize you're never going to win. The idea of winning is ridiculous. There's always going to be evil supernatural things. They're always going to feed on people, on either their flesh, their soul, or their anxiety or fear. And there's no way to get rid of them. It's you keep fighting until you go down swinging, and that's it.
Okay.
There's no win condition. And while, again, that's part of reality, I get it. The reality of this world is that there's no win condition. I get it. I don't have to like it.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question. I mean, do you play games like D20 Modern?
No.
Yeah, see, I mean, so I get what you're saying with that. I mean, Shadowrun might be similar thematically, where you can understand cars and drones and so on and so forth, but you're kind of playing a superheroic character or cyberpunk, whatever, right? You're just playing a mundane schmuck. Well, maybe
most of the OCCs or most of the classes in this thing are mundane schmuckish. Yeah.
Now there are people who love D20 Modern type games. This game is going to be up your alley then.
Yeah, that's fine. Me personally, I think it's too mundane for me.
Okay.
It is too grounded in reality. I like a little, and you're saying too grounded in reality. You're talking about demons and devils. Oh my! Like, I get it. Yes, I'm talking about the mechanics and feel of the game is a little too mundane.
Okay, well let's go back to X-Files. X-Files is pretty mundane. I mean, they're dealing with space aliens and weird cults and so forth, but ultimately speaking, you don't have wizards riding around and dragons throwing fireballs at people. You don't have big cyborgs, and drugged up people, running around taking hits and not even moving down or taking a lot of damage, whatever. You don't have anthropomorphic animals or super powered people, just walking through walls, as we were saying before. Yeah. So I'm in agreement with you on that portion of it.
I understand why they went this way. I don't have to like it.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get it.
And it makes sense. It does make sense.
Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense. I just don't like it. Okay, so what am I going to give this? I'm going to give it three stars. Okay. The reason being is because I like the fact that the world is how it is. It makes perfect sense. And insanity and horror factor are more have been a mechanic for a while, but now they're what I would consider much more useful and appropriate in a game like this. And going forward into Rifts, now you understand insanities and horror factor more, because in Rifts it again becomes much more appropriate. These things become appropriate. So it's snowballing like I like Palladium to do. Each book built upon the last, because this whole insanity and horror factor thing helps build books that come later. I like that. What I don't like is the fact that, again, you as a player will never feel like you've won anything, because even if you win today, the fight just starts again from scratch tomorrow, and you're only as good as your next win in a world like this. and that can really demoralize somebody. Now, should it demoralize your character? Yeah. Should it demoralize the player? No.
No.
But it does. I've seen people like quit Beyond the Supernatural because it's not fun anymore. I never feel like I'm winning. Well,
it's not even Monster of the Week. It's Monster of the Week knowing that there's going to be a monster the next week.
Knowing there's no win. You're never going to feel like you win, and players just quit. I've seen it, and I understand it.
I mean, that goes to the same thing about Mechanoids, right? People complained about that with Mechanoids. It seemed like there was no hope.
There's no way to win. There isn't. But it wasn't a world. It was a very expansive adventure module that you're going to get through to the end. Whereas if you're in the world, like Beyond the Supernatural, an actual world, you want to feel like you've accomplished something. Maybe not winning as an end result, but made the world a better place, right? I'll take that. No, Beyond the Supernatural does not give that to you. It doesn't. So there you go.
I want to partially agree and disagree with Heathen Dog on something. Just to start off that way again, the horror factor side of it. I kind of don't like the way horror factor works in Palladium.
I get it.
Because I think it should be for more things. And we actually had a slight discussion about this on Discord, talking about that. If a tank, and you hear the rumbling of a tank, you don't even see it. You just hear the rumbling of a tank coming down the street. Imagine that scene in Saving Private Ryan when they're all sitting there getting ready to sticky bomb the tanks, and and the soldiers were starting to come up, and the tank hadn't come around the corner yet. That's horror factor. Well, you don't roll that in Palladium because it doesn't look like a gooey monster beast with tentacle arms. Fuck that. Roll your horror factor. Well, that's dumb. That's not how it works in this game. Well, it's horror, dude. You are about to shit your pants when that cannon comes around and is crossing your face hole. That's horror factor. I think horror factor should be rolled more in all of the games. Where I agree with them is the insanity side of it. Without taking a blow to the head or something, just seeing, I screamed like a little girl this morning because I had a spider in my bathroom. I have my own horror factor on there. What do you want? I got to, but I don't think that everything should cause you to crap your pants. Maybe a moment of indecision, whatever. And I'm not going to get into the game mechanics rules of it, but I think horror factor is a great tool. It's one of the first things I loved about Palladium when I played it back in the day. I just think that it could be more expansive thing, because otherwise, for example, I've seen 10 bogeymen. Do I really have to freaking roll horror factor again? No. You've killed enough of these things where you don't have to.
Yeah, but Call of Cthulhu has a mechanic for that, whereas Palladium does not. Call of Cthulhu has a mechanic to where if you lose insanity points equal to the maximum amount of sanity you can lose in one roll, you no longer lose sanity seeing that thing. So if you see a vampire and you lose, say, this is an exaggeration, 1d6, and you lose 3. You see another vampire, you lose 4. You can never lose sanity from seeing a vampire again. You're as scared as you can be of vampires. You've done it.
Yeah.
You are now acclimated to vampires. And I think Palladium might benefit from something like that.
Sure. I don't think it needs a big rule on that, and it's a little out of scope, but just something to say that, hey, I would make it loosey-goosey. Honestly, I would do a typical Palladium fashion for something that's like Game Masters. After a character has seen this creature once or twice, or certain creatures once or twice, especially if they've defeated it, let the party, or don't roll horror effect, or make it much less of a penalty, or only on a surprise roll. Like, holy shit, what's that? Oh God, dang it, vampire, If you leave it at something like that, that's fine. Anyway, that's kind of outside the scope. I just want to put that out there because I love horror factor conceptually. I really do. I just think that the way it's written or the way it's utilized right now, Heathen Dog's right. The one thing that I loved about Beyond the Supernatural, and I've got to be upfront, I'm with Heathen Dog in this one. I don't play D20 modern games. I'm not interested in playing X-Files. I don't even go so far as to play Call of Cthulhu or Evasion. Not my genre, not my thing. Okay. A lot of the Palladium games, honestly, are not my genre. The ones that are my genre are the ones they don't do anymore. Robotech, TMNT, but it's not my genre, not my thing. But I love the proximity the powers, where it's when there's nothing going on, you're pretty much a normal person. You can barely bend a spoon.
Yep.
But when things are happening, When you're confronted by that supernatural beast, all of a sudden you're a supernatural beast. So you're not walking down the streets blowing out light, street lamps. You're not walking down the streets lifting up cars and throwing them around like Heroes Unlimited. No, you're just Joe walking down the road. Hello to Joe from Biggest Geekus, who's going to be listening to this on podcast in about 2 months.
But that's actually true. I mean, in Heroes Unlimited and Palladium Fantasy and Rifts, if you have psionics or magic, you don't need a gun. Well, and Beyond the Supernatural, you could be a master psychic. Bitch, you're going to need a gun.
Yeah,
you're going to need it because if you get roughed up by a street tough in an alley, your master psionic power is shit. It's not going to help you against a knife, even
because that's not a supernatural creature.
No.
And I think that's a very interesting and useful mechanic. Now, I've had a couple people send us messages in the past saying, "Well, that's just a mechanic to explain away games. That's trying to find a reason not to have your powers all the time." But I think even as somebody who studied the occult in the past and somebody who looks at movie tropes, I think that is actually something. Power invokes power. If you think of it as ley lines and rifts, right?
Yeah.
Outside the ley lines, now I get it's higher powered game, but let's just go with this. You don't have much power. On the ley line, you're soaking in all types of power. Well, think of the beast itself as being its own little proximity ley line. I like that. I absolutely like that concept. And it allows game masters to do exactly what Heathen Dog said. You know what? You got the street thugs that are going to mess with you. And what's your job? I'm an IT tech. IT tech. That's a little redundant there, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm the nerd who sits in the chair with my unkempt beard and my sweaty through.
Did you turn it off and turn it back on again?
Yeah, turn it back on again. Well, what was it? What's that old Saturday Night skit? Move. Not good at anything else, but now you're going to get into a night fight. What are you going to do, schmuck? Are you armed? No, guns are bad. Well, guess what? Give me your money. Yep. I want your lunch money and your dinner money. So
I'm actually the most powerful psychic anyone's ever seen. No, not right now.
That's great. Okay, utilize it.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got blood trickling from your nose, your eye, blood vessel popped in your eye, and what happened? Oh, a little pebble went. Oop. But anyway, yeah, we're exaggerating there. But you get the point. I do like that conceptually. Outside that, I have no real complaints about this game other than it's not my genre. I was kind of bored when we went through it. And pardon me for saying that. It is not a bad game. If you like the genre, you want this game. You want it. It's got good, the combat rules are written well. Oh, that's actually something we should have said about After the Bomb.
Oh, yeah, After the Bomb. Oh, yeah, we forgot that. Oh, shit.
This sucks because I'm going to clip that part out.
I know. If you want Palladium combat system explained to you the best possible way, get After the Bomb just for that.
Yeah, it had one glitch, but that's fine. Yeah, Anywho, that sucks because I'm gonna be splitting these up when it comes to the videos. But oh well. Hey, go watch the After the Bomb video. But other than that, I have nothing bad to say about the game. Like I said, other than it's not my genre. If you like investigative type games, if you like superpower type games, supernatural type games, if you want to play Supernatural TV show, X-Files the TV show, Warehouse 13 or whatever the hell that show is called, those types of games, you want to put that into a game, you have found it right here. You will not go wrong with this. And my star rating for this one is I got to take my personal opinions out of this. Like, it's not my genre. So because of that, I'm actually going to bump it up to 4 stars.
All right.
And while I wouldn't necessarily be a fan of like, hey, I get to play in a Beyond the Supernatural campaign, it offers a lot to the player who wants this genre. It's very similar to me as Heroes Unlimited, where Heroes Unlimited offers you a lot. Actually, Heroes Unlimited offers more than this one.
Yeah.
But this one's focuses it right. If that makes sense, in its niche.